economic development. It's one of those things that's thrown around a lot.
Everyone's for it.
Well, what does it mean to John Crawford? I guess that's the question.
My big themes is keeping taxes low, means keeping regulations to a minimum, means getting out of the way as much as possible, and it means making quality of life as Fort Wayne as good as we possible and being as welcoming to as many people as we can. Parks, roads, infrastructure, we tried to make things very as compatible and attractive to new college graduates, particularly of those in fields that everybody was after. We did a program called the Brain Gain, where we actually took some seeded dollars and made a real kind of innovative project that once you got your degree, if you came to Fort Wayne, we'd pay $2,500 of your student loans each year for 4 years, on the theory that once you stayed for 4 years, you probably put down roots and you're going to stay. That's been very successful, and it's helped a lot of people stay, and we kind of rolled that into the Cuesta half loan back program in the Cuesta Foundation. So things like that. I think it's very important to be very welcoming to Fort Wayne, to all citizens. I'm fiercely opposed to discrimination of any kind. For example, I was the only Republican that voted for the expansion of the Metro ordinance to include homosexual lifestyle as a protected class in the discrimination law we have here in Fort Wayne. Before, you had all the usual race and age and sex and ethnic origin and all that. And it was a tremendous debate, but I thought it was a rather easy vote because, see, I don't think if somebody's been working for you for 10 years and they're a good employee and they just walk in today and say, listen, I just wanted to tell you I've always been homosexual and never told you, but I just wanted you to know that. I don't think it's right for you as an employer to say, well, I don't like gay people and I'm firing you only specifically for that reason, even though you've been a perfect employee for 10 years. Now, that is a very controversial vote, and it passed 5-4 with one Republican vote. So those are kind of things that I don't mind necessarily taking a stand that might have cost me some votes in the last election too. And Mayor Henry was actually the one who brought that ordinance forward because I think he had some people that were quite in favor of that. But I just think that's important because some of the young professionals we're trying to lure to Fort Wayne might very well look at that and say, look, it's Midwest, but maybe these guys are a little more progressive. Maybe they are not like some of the Midwest. It might not be welcoming to someone of my lifestyle. And the same thing about smoking ordinance, for example. I think 36 states have a statewide ordinance like we have in Fort Wayne. But in Fort Wayne, it was like World War III doing that. It was like, oh, we can't do this. This is new, but you talk to people from California and Florida and New York had this for years and years. They don't believe it when they come somewhere that doesn't have it. And that might very well be something, once again, that might make Fort Wayne stand out a little bit from places that don't have it. So I think it's very important. Quality of life are the things that you can do as a city council person. Keeping taxes low, things you can do as a city council person. Keeping regulations low, you can do as actually making a factory sprout up when it's not going to do it is tough economic development. So I think you prepare the ground, you make it as attractive as possible, and you get out of the way.
One of the things that we were also talking about before we started was the building of consensus and putting it together a successful legislation or agenda or whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Talk to me a little bit more about that and maybe contrast with what we've seen this
Incredibly important. For example, whenever I did something new, I would start the discussion usually a couple of months before I wanted to bring it to the council table. And I would lay out what I was going to bring to the council table a couple of months ahead. And I would have a news conference. Okay, 2 months from now, I'm coming with the smoking ordinance. I'm coming with changes to Metro. I'm coming with changes to the landscape ordinance. This is what I'm going to propose. that gives the community a couple of months to say, oh my, this is terrible, oh, this is great. It also gives the administration some time to either get on board or not, and it gives you time to talk to other council members and say, what do you think? Is this good? Is it bad? Can we improve it? You can just talk on one-on-one basis. You can't, have meetings outside of the council, but there are ways of discussing things, particularly when you put it out in the public. So then when it came to the table, you may already kind of know that certain people are disposed to it or predisposed to vote for it if you would amend it a certain way, and is that a compatible amendment? So rather than just have one big bodacious fight at the council table and maybe get something done, maybe not done, table, my goal was always to get to the right answer, very task oriented. So my goal was always to lay it out way ahead of time, let everybody take their shots at it or say what they're for, how can we make it better, see what all the council people kind of were thinking. And then when we got to the council, even if I was voted down, it would be an informed vote down. And I had a much better chance of getting it passed. Like even on the controversial smoking ordinance, probably the most controversial one ever in Fort Wayne, with the bars and private clubs and everything in there. I got 7-2 vote. And I had to do that year, okay? Even though I knew it was an election year, and I knew it was going to be not the best thing in an election year. I knew that if I was ever going to do that, I thought I had, knowing the council people, I thought I had a good chance at 5 votes. And I had a mayor who was going to sign it, okay, who was enthusiastically for it. I knew the 2 people running for mayor the next time, I don't think either one of them would have signed it, okay? So then I would have had to have 6 votes to override a mayoral veto. I thought I had 5 and a mayor, so I was either going to do it or shut up. Now, I probably could have talked the mayor into being the tip of the spear, but that's chicken way out. But it took a lot of consensus building to get that done, and you had to line up all the people that were for you, the editorial boards and the medical societies and Tobacco-Free Indiana. All those people were lined up, lobbying, calling people, coming to the council meetings, having public hearings, because you knew the ones that are against you, they're going to come. So yeah, it's very important if you're going to do something big. And I don't see that so much with the present council. I see a lot of extemporaneous bickering at the council sometime, and a lot of playing gotcha and stuff like that, rather than really trying to get something done. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to run again, to maybe bring that more of that kind of attitude, task oriented, get things done back to the council.
Being away from it for 4 years, or 3 years, 4 years, positive, negative, overall, any feelings?
In what way?
Do you feel like it's been beneficial to be away from it?
Oh yeah, I told you, I think you learn more by losing an election than winning, because if you win, you say, oh, wonderful, everybody thinks I'm great. But if you lose, you say, well, I wonder why I lost. And you start thinking about some things and say, well, maybe I could have not voted for that Public Safety Academy, or maybe I should have insisted on that performance bond, and maybe next time I would do it a little different. And then, I follow politics at the national and state level, so you learn more as you go. So I think I would be a better council person this time than I was last time. And I think last time, at least all the newspapers always said I was the best, or one of the best prepared council people and one of the best informed. And when I came, I usually came with graphs and charts, and it wasn't like I was making it up on the spot. So, and also, whenever the administration would propose something, I would do my own independent research. I never accepted. I always wanted to kind of trust but verify, and always make sure that we were getting to the right answer. And whenever I disagreed with them, and I knew I was going to try to defeat something the administration brought, I would call them days ahead and tell them my arguments I was going to say at the council, so they could have their counter arguments ready, so we would come to the right answer. I wasn't concerned with, my way or the highway. I was concerned with getting to the right answer. And I think that's what I'd like to bring back again.
Anything else that we haven't touched on? There's so much more we could talk about, but
I don't think so. I think we hit a lot.
We did.
So,
John, we appreciate your time today.
Hey, no problem.
Wish you well in November.
Thank you.
Or I'm sorry, in March.
We got to get by May first.
Thanks.
Okay.